Hello, everybody. Seth here, and welcome back to the Hillbilly Hypnotist episode 3. And today I am going to show you how to make some good old country white gravy. Very simple, takes a little bit of time, but it's not too bad, and it's so much better than the packed gravy you're served at almost every restaurant and you would buy from the store. And ingredients, pretty simple. I have some bacon grease here. You would want to use that or lard or sausage grease, and then all-purpose flour, salt, pepper, and whole milk. And I'm just going to start with. I'll turn my temp up to, I don't know, medium high, just to get my lard melted. And I'm going to put 3 tablespoons of lard. And this will make enough gravy for about 6 biscuits, maybe a little more. So, yep, 3 tablespoons of lard, and I'm going to get that started melting, which at a higher temperature doesn't take that long. And then usually it works out where you would use 3 parts of all-purpose flour, so the same as your lard. But it really, sometimes you may have to adjust something just depending on to have the right consistency of your roux. And so I'm going to stir this all-purpose flour in here and just see how that looks. That looks pretty good. I'm going to add just a touch more flour, so maybe 3 to 4 mix on that. And that looks good. So once it starts heating up, I am going to turn this temp down to a medium low, because you want to give the flour, you want to give it time to cook that raw flour taste out, without browning it too quick, because you are making a white gravy here instead of a brown gravy. So do that, set that. I add just a touch of salt at this point. I don't put pepper in until I add my milk, because I don't want the pepper to get in this hot oil and flour and burn and get bitter. So yeah, that's that. Let that cook. It's probably going to need to cook for, I don't know, 8 to 10 minutes, and looking for like a dirty blonde color. You can do that according to your taste. If I was going to make a brown gravy, I would make a super dark, nutty roux. I'll probably make this one more like pecan colored, since I'm doing a white gravy for biscuits. And yeah, I'm cooking in my granny's gravy pan that she gave me. And this is one of the first things I learned how to cook from her when I was a kid. So there's probably been gravy being made in this pan before I was even born. But, my mom was young when she had me. And so I spent a lot of time with Granny. And when I was with Granny, she would cook gravy, biscuits, homemade everything. And go back to Mom's and be like, I want gravy and biscuits. And she'd say, well, learn how to cook it. And so that's what I did. I went back to Granny's. I said, you got to show me how to cook, so I can make my own. And that kind of started my cooking adventure when I was 6, 7 years old, learning how to scramble eggs, first, and then moving on to doing stuff like this. But yeah, I'm gonna let this roux just sit here and cook on a medium low heat and start to brown up and cook that raw flour, and then we will come back and I'll show you what that looks like when it's time to add the milk and black pepper. All right, we're back, and I've been cooking the roux for just probably close to 10 minutes, and I've got the color I'm looking for in there. And you can smell it. It smells just slightly nutty. Great color. At this point, I am going to turn my eye up close to high. And be careful, you can burn your roux right here. But I want this milk to hit and get hot and come together. So I really don't have a measurement for the milk. I'm just gonna go a little at a time and keep my eye on the thickness of the gravy. So eyes up, milk's going in. When I'm pouring the milk in, I want to stir vigorously and make sure it's not clumping up on me and get everything nice and smooth and creamy. At the high temp, it's really going to thicken up fast as the milk comes to temp, and then you just kind of roll with it. Be careful not to add too much milk. You can always add more. You can't take any out of your roux. So at this point, I will add some black pepper. And one thing I didn't mention when I was putting the salt in, if you're using bacon grease or sausage grease or something of that nature, don't add a lot of salt. You can always add more salt at the end because there's going to be salt in that lard from the bacon or the sausage. Some black pepper. She's bubbling and boiling good. Once it gets to this point where it's rolling hard on a boil, I'll bring it down to low, setting on about a 2 there on my stove, and check that thickness. And I like to just cook it here on low for 4 or 5 minutes. Make sure that flour is good and cooked, and just to kind of get a good idea of what kind of thickness I'm working with. Once it starts to cool down, you'll get a true feeling for how it's going to turn out in the end. And to me, that looks great. Boom, done. I'm going to grab a ladle. So I can show you. That's what you're looking for. And then, of course, taste your salt levels. Make sure you like it. And that's it. And that's how you make homemade gravy. Thank you for watching. I appreciate y'all very much. And get in the kitchen and start cooking.